Welcome back, Field of 68 Top Dogs podcast. Rob Doster here. Um, Obviously, this is coming after UConn season came to an end. UConn crashed out of the NCAA tournament with a 75-77 loss. Yes, you would say 77 to 75. That's how rattled I am right now. 77-75 loss to the Florida Gators, to the number one seed in the West region, to maybe the number one team in all of college basketball right now, in what can be described somewhere between a thriller, a disappointing loss, and something where you can take a little bit of pride in the way that UConn played. I'm not going to dive too much into breaking down what actually happened on the floor, like mistakes that were made. I think we can all kind of recognize like there were a couple of self-inflicted wounds down the stretch of the game that, maybe if that goes another way, and you know, this game results in a different outcome. But that's kind of neither here nor there. I think the biggest thing is that the way that this played out, um, these were two teams on the night that were more or less evenly matched, right? And one team happened to have a guy that was a first team All American that is an absolute killer that decided to put this program on his back in crunch time and make some ridiculous threes in the moment. And that is Walter Clayton Jr. And that is who had probably the best performance out of anyone in this game, and one of the better crunch time performances that we've seen in this tournament so far. To me, that was the difference when UConn really, really needed a bucket. They didn't have that go-to guy to kind of put the ball in his hands, get out of the way, and say, go get us one. And Florida had that guy, and his name was Walter Clayton, and he finished with 23 points, and he went 5 for 8 from three, and he hit a couple of absolute daggers in this game. So I think the biggest thing, just one last thing on the game, real quick, like the thing that makes this hurt, which it hurts a little more. And I'm a little more disappointed with this result than I thought I was going to be. Right, like I had meant. I don't know how the rest of UConn fans felt, but I kind of made my peace with the fact that this team was good enough to win a game in the tournament. Probably wasn't really good enough to be able to do much in the tournament itself. You win a game, you throw a haymaker at Florida, and I'm good with it. Like you gave us a ride, you gave us something to cheer for. I thought I was going to be good with it, and then you play a game where it feels like UConn. I don't want to say should have won. Saying they should have won is probably too strong, but UConn absolutely could have won that game and could have won. Uh, Knocked off the number one seed in the West. And the reason I say that is I think it was very clear that Florida started getting nervous. They started getting tight. They started getting concerned. They started playing like a number one seed that had their back against the wall, right? That was on the ropes. And and that's what you need if you are trying to upset the best team in the tournament and the team that is currently the betting favorite to win the national title. You have to be able to get them on their back and get them playing a game that is not their game. And that's exactly what UConn was able to do. Look how many free throws Elijah Martin missed, right? Look how many free throws Alex Condon missed. There was a stretch in the second half where Florida had made just 6 of 15 from the line. And that's when it just felt like UConn had a chance here. And there were a couple of moments, and there were a couple of possessions, and there were a couple of plays. One, um, or midway through the second half, it was 50 to 44, and UConn had a chance to be able to get to the lane. I think it was in transition. I want to say it was Haas. No, I think it was Jalen Stewart, and it's a little bit of a secondary break kind of a scenario. And he gets to the rim, he misses a layup, and then Florida comes down to the other end, and Will Richard bangs a three. And that was an opportunity to put the lead up to 8, and all of a sudden it's back down to 3. And I don't think, again, please don't read that as me blaming this loss on Stewie. That is not what I'm trying to do. But that was a big moment where it just did not go UConn's way. The turnover, it was 61 to 58, and the ball, Solo has the ball. There's a chance to get a break. You don't really get anything out of it. Florida gets back on defense. And Will Richard is able to knock the ball out of Solo's hands, and it happens to bounce off his foot or bounce off. I forget exactly what happened, but it ends up going out off of Solo, um, and then Florida gets the ball back, and they're able to go score at the other end. So what was an opportunity with about 4 minutes left to push the lead to two possessions turns into, I think it was two Alex Condon free throws at the other end of the floor. Um, the missed free throw box outs towards the end of the game. I think those four possessions right there are worth like 8 points, and that changes a lot in this game and a lot in this matchup. And those are the kind of things that will cost you in a situation when you're playing a team as good as Florida. And I don't think that should take away from the level of fight that this team had. And I part of me is there's a little frustration in watching this because part of me is sitting here saying, where was this fight the rest of the season? Where was this fight, down the stretch against Seton Hall? Where was this fight in a couple of games against St. John's, right? And that's the part where I kind of watch it and I'm like, man, a couple of wins here, you avoid a loss there, and suddenly you don't have to deal with Florida in the second round of the NCAA tournament, and you're a 6 seed instead of an 8 seed, and you get a chance to play someone like Iowa State, or you get to play someone like a Wisconsin. And if UConn played the way that they did against Wisconsin or Iowa State, then they win that game today. And that's where you kind of get burned with some of these losses that you're not supposed to take and missing on opportunities where you could get a chance to get a big win. And that's something that I think UConn fans and this UConn team is going to regret. But I don't think you can question the effort at all. Yeah, they didn't shoot the ball well. Yeah, there were a couple turnovers there that hurt in big moments. But they beat Florida. They beat them up with the glass. 14 offensive rebounds for UConn. They only gave up 12 to Florida. They didn't really give up that many second chance opportunities. For the most part, they kept Walter Clayton in check. And outside of Elijah Martin going nuts for about a 4 minute stretch at the start, they were able to more or less keep him in line. I think if you would have told me heading into the game today that you were able to keep those guys, all of them, from really going crazy. I think they combined for 56 points. I would have said that that's pretty good. Like that, they all kind of hit their middle of the road performances, and I think that's something where when you are able to do that to them and keep Florida off the offensive glass, you got a chance to be able to hang in that thing and find a way to win. And that just it wasn't the way that it happened tonight, and it's disappointing, and it's frustrating, but. More than anything, it's sad that the season is going to be over, and it's sad. This is the last that we're going to see of Hassan Diarra wearing a UConn jersey. That's the last that we'll see of Samson Johnson wearing a UConn jersey, and there's a very real possibility it's the last time we see Liam McNeely wearing a UConn jersey, which is what it is. He's a one and done. But if this is the last time we see Alex Caravan wearing a UConn jersey, it's it's sad that he couldn't go out with, I don't know, if a better performance, something a little bit more memorable than getting picked off in the second round in a relatively forgettable season when he did not play his best basketball throughout the year. And I think he deserved better than that. I think that UConn fans will remember him better than this. He is a two-time national champion that gave up an opportunity to be an NBA draft pick to come back to school to try to get a three-peat. And no matter what happens, I don't think anybody should ever, ever, ever forget that he has done so much for this program, and he has done so much for UConn fans in terms of their ability to win. Man, look, college basketball fans, are you ready to take your hoops game to a new level? Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just trying to win your March Madness office pool, Rhythm is here to give you the edge this season. With data-driven predictions for every single college basketball game left on the schedule, Rhythm helps you maximize your bets. And as March Madness kicks off, Rhythm's insights will help you spot those plucky Cinderellas that are going to shake up the NCAA tournament. But that's not all. When Selection Sunday rolls around, let Rhythm's AI-powered bracket generator do the heavy lifting for you. This is the same AI tool that performed 35% better than the average ESPN bracket last year. And here's the best part. Rhythm pairs perfectly with our Field of 68 expert analysis, giving you the 1-2 punch that you need for the rest of the college basketball season. So don't wait. Download Rhythm today and get ready to see college basketball and your betting results in a whole new light. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. Bet insurance tokens, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice parlay boost or two here or there. Be sure to keep your eye out in the app for the Field of 68 specials that we'll be running throughout the season as well. So go download the BetMGM app to sign up today. As teams are fighting to get off the bubble and into the Field of 68, I got a beverage for you that's been off the bubble since day one. Dad Water. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail unlike anything else on the market today. If you're tired of the same old beers and seltzers on game day, crack open something different. Dad Water is made with tequila, water, and natural flavors. Nothing artificial, no BS. It's 100 calories, zero sugar, zero carbs, gluten-free, so if you're on a diet like me, you're good to go. Dad Water is also an Indiana brand. College hoops is in its DNA, and they want you to enjoy a great lineup of products all tournament long. Dad Water is the ultimate game time drink with no bubbles. It just drinks like water. Clean, smooth, refreshing, and without those burps. So take it from me. This is the easiest drinking adult beverage I've ever had. Dad Water is now available at Target, Total Wine and Liquor, and Meijer, as well as your favorite local liquor stores. Or you can order online at drinkdadwater.com. Dad Water, tequila, water, natural flavor. Now is your chance to prove you're smarter than the Field of 68. We're hosting a Survivor contest with our partner Splash Sports. There's a $25 entry fee, a 25 entry max in the contest, and more than 1,700 spots available, which means there's a $40,000 max prize for the winner. Survivor is the future of March Madness. Each day you pick a team to win. If they win, you advance. We'll also be running a free to enter bracket contest as well as a second chance Survivor in the Sweet 16. So prove you know more ball than the Field of 68 on Splash Sports. I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. So I think that's the hardest part about the loss for me is just, this is probably the last time that we're going to see a lot of guys that did a lot of really good things for UConn basketball over the years. So a major salute to Alex Scarabin. He should have his name retired, number retired at some point. Major salute to Samson Johnson. Major salute to Sandiar, who was an absolute warrior. I mean, I don't think you can overlook the fact that this dude was playing through injury for the last 2 months of the season and never complained about it, never whined about it, never said anything other than, yeah, let me get out there. I'm gonna lace up my shoes. I'm gonna put my shorts on. We're gonna get out there. We're gonna go try to win this game. So there's a lot more to discuss with UConn long term and big picture. There's a lot more that we can get into, in terms of what they can add in the portal, who they should add, who they should target, they should bring back more specifically. But I will say that that is for a different day. Right now this is a day where you celebrate the seniors that have played their last game for UConn. It's where you embrace the effort that this team played with, and you just kind of tip your cap to a Florida team and a Florida player that showed why they are a team that can win a national championship. And I know it's neither here nor there, and it's probably not the thing that UConn fans want to hear me talking about on a UConn podcast. But I will say, teams that win national titles, generally speaking, get punched in the mouth at some point during the NCAA tournament. And at some point, they find a way to win a game that they should not win and that they were not supposed to win and they did not play well enough to win. UConn was able to get up to a lead. Once they get that lead, they just drain the clock and they run offense, and it makes it very, very difficult for them to play against. So the second half, there were elements of what made Virginia so difficult to play against and come back on when they were at the peak of their powers. I got a text from somebody around the Florida program after the game ended, and the way that he phrased it was, this is like playing a football team that loves to run the ball. Um, they it's so methodical, it's so slow, it takes you out of a rhythm, and it's very difficult for you to deal with. Once if they can get a lead early, it is very, very, very hard to come back on them when they are not turning the ball over. And they didn't turn the ball over today. 6 turnovers, they won on the glass. Like they did. Here's the thing: they did the things that we said they needed to do to win. This is what we talked about heading into this game. Don't turn the ball over, compete on the glass, win the matchup at the four. Well, Alex Condon had 5.7 boards and 4 assists, right? He only took 2 free throws, missed 2 shots, missed 5 free throws. Alex Karabin probably didn't play his best game, still had 14 and 5. You know, maybe he hits a couple different threes and it's a different conversation on who wins, but he won that matchup at the four, which is what he needed to do. Hassan Diarra did a good enough job on some of those guys on the perimeter. And a couple more shots go down. A couple timely turnovers don't happen to be turnovers, and this game goes a different way. So that's the part that's just a little bit, frustrating and disappointing, and something where I know a lot of people in that locker room are going to be sitting there saying, "I wish we had the opportunity to get that back. I wish we had another chance to be able to play this game and have some of those big possessions." And it is what it is, man. Can't fault the effort. Can't fault the scouting. Can't fault the game plan. Can't fault much more than fucking Walter Clayton Jr. deciding to make every big three that he took. So the way that I kind of look at it, man, is tip the cap, say good game, and move on to next season. I think that Florida is going to end up being the team that wins the national championship this year. I think we're going to see a Florida Duke title game, and I think there's a very real possibility UConn gets knocked out of the tournament by the team that won the national title. But listen, in the coming days and weeks, we'll have reaction podcasts when commitments show up. We'll have reaction podcasts if players hit the portal, and we'll have a full audit of the roster here. But it's not the time for that. Probably next week isn't going to be the time for that Sweet 16 stuff. But the portal opens on Monday, and shit is about to get wild in the world of college hoops. I just hope that UConn is prepared for it and these guys are ready, and they can get a jump start on next season. So appreciate everyone that watched these and listened to these podcasts. I appreciate, as always, everyone that engages with this content. I wouldn't be able to do this for a living if there weren't people that for some reason were interested in what I had to say about UConn or college basketball, period. And it's a lot of fun to be able to have something of a platform to kind of air my thoughts and talk through UConn stuff. And I'll be honest, it's a lot more difficult and unenjoyable to do this in a year where UConn is not winning at the level that they've won the last 2 seasons. But it was a different experience. There were things where you watched them get better and it was fun. There were things where you watched them continue to make the same mistakes and it was not so much fun. But forever and ever roll skis, and hopefully next year we can find a way to be able to hang a banner somewhere, whether that's a Big East championship, a Big East tournament, a national title, a Final Four, whatever it is. Back on the horse, and let's find a way to win some more games. Go UConn.